He looks up and sees a group of soldiers marching in formation. Curious, he follows them to a military training camp that had been built on the school's football field. The dog wanders into camp and watches as the men go through their exercises. One of the soldiers notices him and walks over and pets him on the head. This was the first time the dog had ever been shown any kind of affection from a human, and so he begins to show up to the camp every day. And soon, a private named James Conroy notices the dog and starts calling him Stubby. Conroy starts feeding him, and eventually he and all the other soldiers in the unit adopt him as their pet. The soldiers teach him tricks, and he begins sleeping at the camp with them. In just a few short months, the dog went from roaming the streets to having a name, a family, and a home. But one chilly October morning, a nervous Private Conroy scoops Stubby up and quickly pulls him into his overcoat. Stubby doesn't know what's going on, and when Conroy finally lets him free, he finds himself on the deck of a huge ship. It turns out the soldiers who were training at Yale were now being deployed as one of the first National Guard units to fight in the Great War. On their way to Europe, Stubby is eventually discovered by the commanding officer aboard the ship.
Get rid of that filthy dog, Conroy.
But sir, he's one of us.
He is not.
Okay, he can stay. Having won over the commanding officer, Stubby is officially made the regiment's mascot and allowed to freely travel with Private Conroy and the unit. The Americans arrive in France, and in February, they're sent to fight on the Western Front. Though things are initially quiet, everything changes in February of 1918 when the Germans begin to use chemical warfare on the American positions, and Stubby is nearly killed by a gas attack. Though he recovered, he never forgot the smell of the gas that almost did him in, and he would quickly become an early warning system for incoming gas attacks, barking at the first scent of danger. By March, the relative quiet Stubby and the American Expeditionary Force had enjoyed was completely shattered as the Germans launched their spring offensive. Shells begin raining down on the Americans, and firefights break out day and night. As he watches Conroy fire his rifle, Stubby hears loud whistling overhead. He looks around at his fellow soldiers, but they don't seem to hear anything in the chaos. He jumps up, barking at Conroy, biting his leg and pulling him towards cover. Stubby runs to the next soldier and continues pulling people towards shelter until all of the unit realize what he's doing. Artillery shells soon rained down all around them. Stubby had saved their lives. A first for the brave dog, but definitely not the last. By April, the Americans have the Germans on the run, and Stubby follows Conroy into no man's land as the Americans push towards the enemy lines. But as they advance forward, a retreating German soldier throws a grenade that finds its way right next to their position. It explodes near Stubby, and shrapnel digs deep into his legs and chest. Conroy frantically rushes Stubby to the field hospital where the doctors are able to save his life. While recovering from his wounds, he wandered the field hospital, visiting fellow soldiers, performing the tricks they taught him to cheer them up. Soon, Stubby returns to the front lines, and he quickly begins demonstrating a new skill of finding